Hello. Let me add in Jennifer. All right. Hey guys. All right, let me add in.
Hello.
Hi.
How is it
Got it to
going?
work.
Can we see me?
It's going
I think maybe
good.
let me
All right,
change.
I got it to work right. Phew. Okay.
Yeah. All right. I'm in an awkward spot, I think. With the sun.
Okay. I'm
Let's
here.
see. Okay.
Oh my. Do I always sneeze when I get on these lives? Did I do this last time?
You're allergic to being live. I just don't even know what to do with my hair right now. It's like look at
You
this.
look great.
I know. I'm just wearing headbands constantly now, and yeah, I thought it was getting better, and then it just like started getting to a certain length, and now it's like curling into my face. I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, yeah.
Oh my.
All right, look, now my nose is itching. I'm not even, you're sneezing, my nose is itching. What's going on? Um,
I don't know, but it's good to see you.
yeah, it's you too. Yeah, I don't know. Should we just introduce ourselves, even though I guess people kind of know us?
Okay. You want to go first?
I don't Sure. I'm Dr.
Yeah.
Jennifer Palmer. You can call me Jen. I'm a physical therapist and a baby-led sleep and well-being specialist. It's funny because last time we did this live, I was still like getting there. So this keeps like,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's really exciting. I have a 13-month-old daughter. I am still breastfeeding. I don't know what else to say. Um, yeah, I live in San Diego. So do you. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have anything else fun about me. I'm not fun. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, tell us about you.
Okay. So, hi everyone. I'm Dr. Alison Zebron. I'm also a physical therapist, and what I am passionate about is just helping moms with birth, pregnancy, and postpartum. I'm a breastfeeding consultant, and I'm also a postpartum doula and childbirth educator. So, I like helping moms with all of those different things. And I have two boys. They're both asleep. So kind of be time this live around their
Yeah,
sleeping or
hopefully.
yeah, or wouldn't have gotten through this. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
2 and 4 and they sleep same time every day together.
that's so
So
nice. Yeah,
yeah.
that's so nice. Yes. Yeah. Well, so I was telling you before, I know I got some questions on contact naps.
Yeah,
Um,
it's about
that
that.
seems to be yeah, that seems to be a big thing these days, probably all days. But yeah, so I guess let me just talk. So people, if you don't know what a contact nap is, it's when, your baby is napping on you or your child is napping on you, because you're in contact with them. Yes. And it's so precious, but then sometimes we do need to get things done. Yeah. Yeah, you're like, I love you, but also I just need like a second.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so first off, I just want to say like these are completely normal, especially in the first year when the baby, is just totally attaching through their senses. They really are looking for that warm body, that proprioceptive input, that tactile input from you, listening for your heartbeat, especially this first, they're adjusting to life outside of the womb. Being close to you, that's their home. So of course it's normal. I know a lot of us have read and been told like drowsy but awake, blah blah blah, like your kid should be napping in the crib, they won't have restorative sleep, blah blah blah. That's not true. First off, let me just say that your kid doesn't have to nap in the crib to have restorative sleep. That's just a scare tactic, honestly. That's not the environment is not going to affect what stage of sleep they get into. So anyways, um, yeah, so but regardless, like again, we do not always want our child to fall asleep on us. So there's definitely some things we can work on. Generally in that first year, so just some tips I give people, that first year, trying the first nap, of course, just because that's the one that's most likely to, it's easiest to get for the most part. Because they're generally tired. That last nap of the day is generally, especially when you're in a nap transition, which I feel like you're always in a nap transition. But yeah, so I would just recommend trying that first nap of the day. Some things, and again, so like I said, they attach through the senses. So if if they're looking for that warmth, and you're gonna figure this out with your baby, just being attuned with them, maybe you can have someone like warm the crib before you put them down. Obviously, like, take whatever out of it. Do not leave anything warm in there with the baby or anything in the crib. But yeah, like, that's something you can do. When they get a little older, you can like weigh down the sleep sack. You can just try to mimic that cozy atmosphere. Put like tiny stuffed animals in there if they like that. Or maybe even like a maternity pillow. Again, this is after a year because that's a risk of SIDS before 1 year. That being said, we also don't want the baby to be necessarily napping alone for the first 6 months. So like, you still want to at least be like supervising them. So, you can kind of figure out what can mimic you the best that you can while you're also supervising them, but like in the same room doing whatever. That can be something. Those are some very like simple things that anyone can do. So just trying to mimic the atmosphere that is like you, if they love napping on you. If you want to, another thing that I always tell people, so if you want to like sleep on their sheets, maybe you're sleep on their onesie or sleep on something like the night before so that it smells like you, so that when they're sleeping, they have that scent of you as well. Again, just trying to mimic your body as much as you can in the crib kind of thing. Hopefully that helps. I don't know. Did you contact nap a lot?
Yeah, I still do.
Yeah. No, I mean, I still do too. It goes back and forth, especially if they're going through something developmental. Yeah, I know a lot of people, they'll say like they'll pop right back up when they lay them down. Definitely, keep trying, but don't be afraid to like pick them up and let them fall back asleep in your arms. Like, that's totally okay. You're not creating a bad habit.
Remember that stage.
Yeah. Yes, it is only, everything's a phase, everything's a stage.
And it seems like it'll last forever, and it's like, when is this gonna end? And then one day it does.
Yes.
It does. But in that moment, because you're so tired,
Yes.
it's just like, when are they gonna be able to do this? When can they do this? You're so tired, and it's so different from your life before having a baby.
For sure.
That I can't. So, but it does end.
Yes.
It does end.
As someone who's had 2 kids now, we can trust you.
Yeah, with your second kid, you do realize like, okay, yeah, this does end.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
let me just get through it.
Yeah, I would say I definitely, like, I remember before I like really stumbled into all this further education, I remember being at like 4 months, 5 months, I was like, oh my God, like, when's she gonna nap in the crib? Like, she never wants to, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, like, I have all these things to do, blah, blah, blah. And like, I don't know, it's so hard, like, transitioning that mindset because you're so used to doing all these things. And you feel like you can't get anything done because then the dishes are piling up, and then you finally get them done, and then like you have to clean something else up, and you have to do this, blah, blah, blah.
And the baby wakes up and it's like, I didn't have time to do anything.
Yes. So, and that's why. So again, you can definitely work on that transition to the crib. There's nothing wrong with that. It's going to take some time, and you're going to think you're making progress, and then they're going to wake up, and then, it's definitely going to take time and patience to do that. So that's why if people don't want to do that and they just want to end up like changing their mindset and just soaking it in, I always recommend having like a phone or a book or something nearby that you can at least just sit there, like listen to a podcast, scroll through Instagram, whatever you want to do, just to, just chill. You can relax while they're sleeping on you. Pop your feet up, make sure you're comfy. Those are all other things you can do if you don't want to work on the crib transition.
It was kind of like whatever gets me the most sleep.
Yes.
where I don't care. I just need sleep.
Yes, yes.
Gotta be right on me. Let's all sleep.
Yes.
Right.
And another way that some people, if they have like a floor bed or like a sidecar, like anything like that, or even if they do have like a bed set up to co-share or co-sleep, whatever, bed share, or even on the floor, honestly, like babies are
Mhm.
going to sleep wherever they're going to sleep. Like,
Mhm.
um, yeah, you can even like contact nap and lay down next to them and just do like
Mhm.
a sideline and like literally you can lay on the floor as long as it's safe and
I've
there's
done it
no
all.
like yeah, and then you both nap on
Over
the floor.
with the mattress on the floor.
Yeah, yeah. It's like as long as everything is safe, like you whatever your goals are, if you just want to get more sleep, then do that for sure. You don't want to fall asleep on like a recliner or couch or whatever.
Mhm.
Just to make sure that's a safe bed or floor.
Something
Yes.
stable.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And no, no sheets and well, you can have a sheet like on the lower half of the body, but like no like pillows or anything around the baby's head and no cords nearby. Ideally, baby-proofed area if you're gonna fall asleep in case they wake up if they are mobile.
Mhm.
But yeah, yeah. Hopefully that helps. I don't know if anyone. Yeah, these are just a couple of tips. It's hard for I always throw out these tips, but it is of course it's always hard to like. Every family has a different goal, and every family's dynamic is different, and every baby is different. So different things will work for different families, as always, as we know. Um,
Mhm.
yeah. So yeah. And yeah, so next question, which I know I was talking to you about this, I guess I just kind of wanted to know personally, well, not like, I don't know. I want you to describe, because I know you got into, helping moms, I think partially because of your birth experience. And I just want to know, like, how, I don't know, like, talk us through that and talk us through, like, how, oh, sorry if you heard that, how you, like, get through. So I know you did both naturally. I know I did mine naturally as well. But I feel like it was kind of hard to look things up sometimes because we do medicalize things like that so much. Um, so yeah, I don't know if you want to talk about that with you.
Like my two birth
Sure.
experiences.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I'm trying to keep this short, so I was like, all
No,
right.
you're good.
How do we
As
give
long
my
no nobody
short?
else had questions yet, right?
No, I wrote in the chat that if anyone has question, in the comments I wrote, anyone has questions, feel free to write them down
Yeah.
below, and then we can just answer them live. If
Yeah.
it's just a question, or you want us to speak more on a certain topic, we can do that. And this a replay will be up after the live is done, so you don't have to worry
Perfect.
if you miss it. The replay will be up. But if you don't have any more questions, or if you don't have any, we're just gonna talk. So, so
So
I'll talk
birth.
about So I'll talk about my two birth experiences, but I'm gonna keep it short because I can get birth stories. I can
Yes.
get real detail. Okay, so
Yeah.
my first birth was a natural vaginal delivery, so no pain medications, and I labored for 21 hours. Um, Labored most of it at home. Got to the hospital. I was 7 centimeters. I was like, oh wow, baby's almost here. And that's what the nurses thought too. Like, oh wow, you're 7 centimeters. Baby's almost here. Yeah, baby wasn't almost
Oh
here.
no.
No, I stalled after I got to the hospital, which I find is common. Like moms might be doing or um, progressing well, and then they get to the hospital or get to wherever birthing center, and they stall.
Mm-hmm.
And my kind of reasoning behind that, some things that I've been reading, is that you're taking your body out of its comfort zone or out of a pattern that it was in. You get in the car, it's bumpy, it's different, and then
Mm-hmm.
you're getting into a whole new environment, and your body, your senses is just like, what's going on? We
Yeah.
were comfortable here, we were doing our thing, and now you move me. So maybe it's not time to have the baby.
Yeah.
Maybe. So I feel like that can happen sometimes. Obviously, not all the time, but I feel like that's something that can happen. Well, happened to me. I stalled, um, and so I wasn't progressing any further. And it might have been like 2 hours later. Now I'm at 8. It was like much slower. Um, And we tried all these different positions. I labored on the toilet, which I loved. I love laboring on the toilet. I didn't like the birth ball. I hate the birth ball. Just too, like, I'm bouncing and the ball is bouncing. It's too much bouncing. Yeah, there's too much input. I can't do it. So I didn't really like any other position, but I had a midwife and she was like, oh no, you need to try something else because this baby's not really moving and you're not really progressing. So I was like, okay. And I was so tired and it got to like, it was time to push and I was pushing for hours and I was so tired. And I was also dehydrated because I didn't eat all those hours I was at home laboring. I didn't eat. I didn't think to. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. So I didn't eat. So I was hungry, or didn't have any energy. Wasn't drinking, so I was dehydrated. So I was so tired.
Yeah.
So it was time to push. I didn't really have any energy, so I was pushing, and my son was getting stuck. The way he was sunny side up, so his head was against my back. So I was having back labor. His big giant head was getting stuck. And anyway, they found a position that I can get in, and he kind of turned. Back labor was gone immediately. Now I kind of got like a second win because I wasn't having extra pain. So after that, I was able to find a position, was able to push him out, and yeah, and that was all with no medication. Was so tired. They were actually, my midwife was like, oh, we were actually thinking you might need a C-section, but we didn't say anything. I was like, thank God I didn't say anything. At the last minute,
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to like jump in. Sorry, before you go.
Yeah, jump in because I'll keep telling you.
No, because this is actually something that we like talk about a little bit in our like the whole baby-led sleep certification. Is just like how birth trauma can affect a lot of us in different ways, and whether because like maybe like you did have your vaginal natural birth, but you know not everyone gets the birth that they want, and you know like you go through all these things that you know you didn't eat, and it was kind of almost like you know I feel like birth in general, regardless of how it goes, is traumatizing, like both physically and mentally. And just different coping mechanisms and how people cope with these things can really affect, obviously, a mom's mental health and all that. But then it can also affect baby sleep because, you know, they mirror us completely. So, you know, whether it's you're anxious before you're like, I got to get this nap, I got to go to sleep, you know, whatever, that kind of thing. Or, you know, just there's other stressors like going on in the home. Like these all can, if not dealt with properly, absolutely interrupt baby sleep. So that's just something that, you know, like for me, when I do an intake and all that, like I like to ask about all of this stuff because of because you don't, there's so much going on at home with so many people that you just don't even, you know, you can touch on wake windows and blah, 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 schedules and routines and all that. But, which is, I know like what the mainstream like really is like, this is what you have to do. But if there's so much else going on, you know, this can affect so much in our health, our sleep, and then our baby sleep too. So
yeah, because if mom is anxious, depending on what you recommend, like if she's too anxious, she's not gonna do it. Or you have to like, how is your emotional well-being? What are you anxious of? We got to break down all. Me too, but mostly you got to break down all those different things. Because I was an anxious mom, I still am, but
same.
Struggle with anxiety. So for me, it's like, no, I can't do that. Like, and you have to like say, okay, well, what's going on with you? What do you feel like you can handle with sleep routines? Is that gonna interrupt this, or do you have something else going on within your schedule? Like, I need to know about that, because if I say, okay, this is your nap, do this routine. So it's good to check in with all of those different things. Know the birth story.
Yeah, and again, going back to life before baby and then after, it's like, you know, again, you're losing that control that you've had beforehand, and that's a lot. That's very difficult for moms to deal with too. I know for me, for sure. You know, you can only control so much, and so many of us want to like control, like this is what's going to happen this day and this at this time, and then like all of a sudden one thing gets messed up and we like and we just like
spiral.
Yes.
So especially with not only with just labor, we want a certain way or want it to happen a certain way, and it never goes.
No, definitely.
So something will be off, but Anyway, but same thing with sleep. Like I expected them to sleep this amount of time. They're not sleeping. Why aren't they sleeping? I
Yeah.
want to sleep. Like,
Yes, yes, yeah. And we become so obsessed over like over sleep too. And I know like I definitely was. I mean, I still am honestly, but like I realize certain things now. Like she's popping through her molars, like,
mhm.
yeah. And so I'm like, okay, like if she's a little fussy, like this is why. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Like I try to change the perspective and like put myself in her shoes. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, like what is she going through right now? Because and birth trauma that in itself too. So that is also traumatic for the baby. Like they're in this nice, warm, cozy thing. They're coming out into all these bright lights and like this new world, and they're like, "What the heck? Like, why
And
am
they
I here?"
don't handle that well.
Yes,
Some like,
yes,
oh, whatever. And they're kind of like easy, roll with the flow. They're,
yes,
they're, and you can tell they're just easy, relaxed. And maybe that's just their personality. You see
yes,
them into their toddler years. I'm like, this is like a relaxed kid.
yeah,
But others are, they have more high emotions. And I can even see that with my son now. Like, okay,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, he
yeah,
has some
yes.
needs.
Yeah, every baby responds differently to all these different things, and
Yeah, 'cause
yeah,
they're
so
people.
yes,
Each person responds to different things.
yes, for sure,
Mhm.
yeah. And I think that's where over the years we've had to change our mindset because I think the older way of parenting was like more the authoritative, like you do what I say, that kind of
Mhm.
thing. We've kind of pushed that aside and more, nobody's perfect, of course, but it's more we're realizing like, which is kind of silly, but like our babies are humans.
Mhm.
They're not just inferior to us.
And toddlers as well.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah,
do have a toddler too.
yeah, yes, yeah. She's, now she's definitely toddler level.
Yeah,
That's
and
cracking up.
toddlers, like, it's the same. Like they're people too. Like
Yeah,
they're learning like their
yeah,
emotions. They're learning. Oh, I'm angry, but they don't know what to do with anger.
yes,
So
yes,
they're throwing things, and instead of being angry at them, like don't throw it like you. And now you're angry. Everyone's angry
yeah,
now. Instead of
yeah,
like, okay, why are what's happening? I
yeah,
understand that you're angry, but when we're angry, we don't throw things.
yes,
We talk about it, or we go,
yes,
So
yes.
parenting,
I was,
figuring out a new way.
I would say yes, for sure. I was cracking up earlier because my daughter threw like a tiny tantrum because she wanted to reach in the cat food, which she tries every day. And of course, I'm always like Kinley, like we can't be in the cat food. I know you want to touch that, but blah blah blah. Like she's definitely just trying to help, and help feed the cats. But I was cracking up because then she like it was so hard for me to keep a straight face and like say that because she like came away from it and she gets all like mad and she like like start yelling and then she starts like stomping her foot
Mhm.
just like really like and I was like okay that's the first time she's done that and I was just like I was like just trying to stay a straight face as possible. I was like, Kinley, we can't do that. And then she just like keeps stomping it. And so then I just started stomping my foot back and then it was like a game then and we just moved on. Yeah. So I don't know if that was the best way to handle it or not, but I definitely
Yeah.
get angry at her. I was just trying to be like, okay, like she's starting to give the cats treats. So I think she associates the food with them giving treats, like, and she knows that the cats come over when she's in the food because they want food. So she's like, I'm going to keep going over here. Um, and then I know she just likes to touch everything right now too, like that, putting her hand in the toilet, putting her hand in the
Mhm.
litter box. Um, yeah, so that's a whole that's a whole different thing. Trying to find appropriate sensory things that she can touch that are not the
Mhm.
litter box or the cat
Not
food.
the toilet.
Yes, yes. I'm
They
like,
love
oh,
the toilet, but
yeah, yeah. But anyways, yeah. I don't know. Do you want to talk more about your second birth? I don't know.
my second one ended up being an induction. Now, no one explained to me what is the process of an induction. Obviously, I know, okay, in medicine helps
Mm-hmm.
you, go through the contractions and
Mm-hmm.
all that. That's all I knew. I didn't know the process. I didn't know how long it took. I didn't know all the little details.
Yeah.
And this is partly like the second birth is why I became a doula and why I'm doing what I'm doing because I was just like, okay, if I didn't know this, I'm sure there's plenty of other moms out there who have no idea. They're just walking in and just, okay, the doctor said this, so I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's millions of people out there in these situations and they're just not informed
Yes.
like I was, or they're fearful because they don't know what's going to happen and nobody's explaining because nobody has time.
Yeah.
So I ended up being induced. I'm trying to keep this short too. Ended up being induced. No one explained the process. And then I'm just upset that it's not happening like my first birth. Like
Mm-hmm.
things are not flowing the same. I know things can be different, but I was just, I don't know, just stuck on that. Like, this is not the same. This is not what happened last time. I thought my midwife was going to be there the whole time,
Mm-hmm.
like my first birth. And I don't know what ended up happening with my first birth, why she was able to be there that whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's no other births and
Yeah.
she was mine. But I thought, based off that experience, oh, your midwife stays with you the whole time.
Yeah.
This was a home birth. This was just a hospital birth.
Right.
But apparently there's other baby. I don't know. Obviously she couldn't be there.
Yeah.
So I was upset about that. Like, so I'm like, okay, I have to labor by myself. I mean, my husband lives there, but whatever. So I have to labor by myself.
Yes.
I don't know what's going on. No one's explaining anything. Like, so I was upset that it wasn't happening the same way. So I was just stuck on that. I'm anxious. I don't know what's happening. No one's explaining anything. And I'm like, so how long? They gave me the Pitocin IV.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, how long is this supposed to take? They were like, oh, this could take like 12 hours, 15 hours. I was like, so I'm supposed to lay in this bed for 15 hours? They're
Yeah.
like, yeah. I said, was anybody going to tell me that? I'm hungry, so can I eat something? So I remember from the first time, I was like, I
Yes.
didn't think I'm going to eat something. And they were like, oh, So I called my midwife. I was like, they're not letting me eat. She was like, that's ridiculous. Get her something to eat. She's going to be laying there. Obviously, feed her. So they got me something to eat. And at this point, I'm just upset. I'm like, I have to lay her in this bed. My midwife's not going to be here.
Yeah.
I'm just upset. So I had the induction at night, which that experience, I always recommend moms have an induction started at night so
Mm-hmm.
they can, since it takes that long, they can sleep overnight.
True.
So
Yeah.
by the time it's maybe kind of time, it's at least you slept all night and it's in the
Mm-hmm.
morning
Yeah.
time when things are going to get going.
Yeah.
Or if they're not going to get going, at least you slept all night. You have energy to think.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not like things are getting started and man, like I really want to sleep now.
Yeah.
So I had that night, got to sleep a little bit, and then I started feeling contractions around 4 a.m. So
Mm-hmm.
I kind of woke up like, wait, things are starting. So then I told the nurse, and she was like, there's more to the story, but told the nurse, I'm like, okay. So she kept coming in and out, and then it was like 3 hours from when I started feeling the contractions to when baby was born. It just picked up, picked up, picked up. There was some intense contraction, intense. I don't recommend it. I did it with no pain medication. I can see why people get the pain medication now. It was really, really intense. But pushed him out. 1, 2, 3. This baby wasn't stuck. Pushed him right out. Yeah, so I didn't really know the process of that. To backtrack a little bit, the nurses that I had this time, they were horrible. They were not nice at all.
Mm.
Not nice. And I was clearly scared, did not know what's going on. Nobody explained anything. I was like, well, what about this? They were like, well, it's not like the last time, they had a whole attitude. And I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. I know
Yeah.
it's not. So they were just really mean. And it's just more of the story, but I'll just end it there that
Yeah.
they were mean to me and I just did not appreciate the
Now,
attitude.
I have a question because you have
Yeah.
two kids. Are their temperaments different?
Oh yeah.
So, like, what is different between like the first and
My second son, high emotions. Like
mm-hmm.
when he's mad, when he's happy. When he's angry, he a whole situation is going on, and it's like, okay, you're
Yeah.
angry. The tablet's not working. It's screaming.
Yeah.
My first one, he's also emotional, but he's not as the angry one. He's more the, I guess, sad. He's more, I guess, sensitive. Like he'll cry, like he
Okay.
can't find his 2 socks. Mommy, I can't find. It's like, okay, I will help you find your sock. And the other one is like, oh, you need to calm down. I will get you. So it's like two different high
Yeah.
emotions.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
yeah,
I gotcha.
very, very different.
Yeah.
Very
The reason I ask is because I know even, of course, there's plenty of things that play into that, but I've heard, that sometimes like Pitocin itself can even like you know, affect a baby and their
Mhm.
temperament even, and just how they're
I mean,
delivered.
a lot better than the first one,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it was
But even like maybe the
different.
medication, I have no idea, but you know, it would just be interesting to, you know, look
But
into that. And I'm only
yeah.
asking because obviously I had Pitocin with mine, and I also did without an epidural or any pain meds, and it definitely
Oh,
was intense.
you know.
My daughter is definitely like high emotions as well, except for when she's near people. She's very observant and cautious. But yeah, I'm just curious, like how different, you know, it's probably more anecdotal evidence than anything, but and who knows? There's a lot of things, but yeah.
Who knows?
How
But yeah,
now? Another question: how did both of them sleep? Were they the same or were they different?
different. The first one, he was the non-sleeper. He's the one I probably should have called. I wish I knew you. He was the one I guess I learned all my tips and tricks from
Yeah,
day one in the hospital.
yeah,
Mm-mm. Not so I was up all that time laboring.
yeah,
He did not sleep. We got to that. He was all quiet. Got to the recovery room. He was up,
yeah,
up. You put him in that little that thing they put in
yeah,
the would not stay in there. He
yeah,
cried, would not sleep.
yeah,
So they had to take him to the nursery so I can get a little bit of sleep. Got home, he would not sleep unless he was on the contact nap, unless he
yeah,
was on. I learned, all your life you want to sleep by yourself. So it's like an adjustment, like, why do you need to be with me? So
yes,
he like, and he's the one I tried the mattress on the floor. I tried the crib. I
yeah,
tried. He fell asleep. Let me put him in the crib. You put him in the crib. He wakes back up. So I gotta rock him back. Put him in
yeah,
the crib. So that was that whole thing. So I was like,
yeah,
all right, you're gonna sleep next to me. And then we finished out the year like that.
yeah,
At one, at 12 months old, he slept through the night at that point. So I was like, okay,
yeah.
the
You're
next, yeah.
like,
So that was my first one. My second one, he still kind of doesn't sleep the night. He sleeps, but he did better stretches. So
mhm,
in the hospital, if he was, next to me, he was sleeping. I already learned that. Like, oh,
yeah,
just put him in the field, he'll be fine. But he still slept in that little bassinet thing in the hospital a little
yeah,
bit. So I still
yeah,
got a break. So he was better with sleeping. He gave longer stretches, but he still had his
sure,
times when he had as a baby, and
yeah,
he
sure,
still it took a longer time for him to sleep through the night because he wanted to be next to me. He wanted to
mhm,
breastfeed. He wanted to wake a lot more just to be close to me.
mhm,
And he still does that. He still sleeps next to me and he'll just wake up and just realize I'm there and he'll go back to sleep.
yeah,
So he still needs that.
yeah,
So,
yeah. It's a
oh,
very
yeah.
there's even more research coming out now that shows like, you know, toddlers, it's very normal for them to wake. They just might
Mm-hmm.
not need as much like parental support to get them back to sleep. That's
Oh, no. He'll
very,
just,
yeah. Yeah. And even, I mean, obviously all of us wake up throughout the night,
yeah.
just a normal thing. But
Mm-hmm.
right, it's like getting back to sleep. Like, do they need the physical parental support? Are they developmentally ready to like fall back asleep? Yeah, there's lots of things. But yeah, but you're a perfect example of how different your babies are. I think too.
Yeah. I don't know if I just knew more with the second, or it's just like, man, I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah.
He's right next to me.
Yes.
I don't know. I didn't really give it a chance, but he is better than
Yeah.
his brother, but
Yeah.
I
Well, and I
wasn't gonna.
think I think when people get most concerned is when they have like a really good sleeper first.
Oh.
Think they like, you
Mm-hmm.
know, they think they're doing something wrong with the second. I'm like, oh my gosh, like because they're comparing to the first. And they get, you know, people get worked up, and it's like it's just a different baby. They're just a different
Yeah.
person. Yeah. So, anyways, it's good experience from you. And
Yeah.
good to hear that. Yeah. But sorry, the sun is like so bright on my face.
I know. I'm like, I'm trying to move.
Trying to get closer, but not like too overwhelmingly close here. You can see all the things. Oh, this is a little better if I lean in.
How about Kim? Like, how was her sleeping patterns?
Um, Not great. I think that's part of the reason why I got into all this. Um, I want to say like at the
Yeah.
beginning, so she slept like okay in the bassinet and everything. It wasn't. I think at the beginning she would do like 4 to 5 hour stretches up until the 4 month sleep regression. And then it was a lot of, me nursing her to sleep. She'll wake up right when she hit the mattress, nurse her back to sleep like 4 times in a row. And I was like, what the heck? I was like, what's going on? And then she would wake up at midnight, like there were all these things, and she would keep waking up. And then there were times, and I found myself, I would fall asleep with her on the couch, which is not a safe place to be. I just didn't know any different. And I was like, I would pass out, and she would, I would like, oh, yeah. Anyway, so that's like kind of how I was like, okay, why? She obviously needs me to sleep, or to sleep well, I guess I'll say. And this isn't safe. So it's like, what can I? And I just happened to stumble upon more of like, what people have been doing around the world for ever instead of the Americanized way of life.
I found that like a lot of people, a lot of cultures, they all just sleep together.
Yeah.
The entire family.
It's literally like 95% of the world sleeps.
They're all in one room.
Yep.
Wherever, yeah. So it's
yeah.
like, oh.
Yeah, I know. It's very, but we, we as the US, the UK, Australia, we really push, your baby has to be independent, but like they will be independent when they're ready. And I'll even say, one of my friends, I don't think they co-slept initially, but then as she got a little older, she ended up sleeping with her, and I think she's 4 now. Probably in the last month or so, her daughter was just like, okay, mommy, like I want to sleep by myself now. And just like, and like she was ready, but like mom wasn't.
Like, are you like you right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, again, it's about finding what works for you and your family. Like for her now, she's 13 months, and she does give me longer stretches of sleep. I go back and forth. We're definitely like a musical beds kind of family. Sometimes I'll sleep with her on the floor, like on a floor bed, and then sometimes she'll be in the crib for the whole night kind of thing. It really just depends. She's very dependent, and even on me, because I'm very anxious. So sometimes I worry too much. And it's easier for me to sleep next to her, which I know is not, I think a lot of people, I think it's probably like split 50-50. Like some people are so worried about like rolling over on their kid, and then some people are like me and like feel more comforted being right there, because that's just how I feel.
And I guess it depends if you're wild in your sleep.
Yes, yes.
I'm really wild.
Yes, yeah. I'm
not rolled on the kid so far.
Yeah, I'm a very light sleeper.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah. Like I see her, I'm like, oh my god, like, and I cover her up and take the covers off. I move everything, yeah. So anyways, it just depends. It just depends on the night. Yeah. So, but I think even like our 8 to 10 month sleep regression was worse than 4. But she also got sick around that time. So I don't know if that was that or no one warns you about that one.
Yeah.
That was so long. Yeah. And like you think that their sleep's supposed to be getting better. Yeah, and then it just doesn't, and you're like, what is going on? And then finally, like 11 months hit, and I think she was like starting to get her longer stretches again. I was like, oh, thank God. Yes, but
there's always a regression. It's like, every month this is a regression or a growth spurt or something, or they're teething or they're sick. I was like, what?
And then it's crazy, but she's very affected by like leaps. Also, I noticed like the developmental, like the mental growth. Like I could tell she's always so much more jumpy, especially in the beginning. The first 6 months, she was so jumpy with her sleep. Like even when she was in the crib, whatever, she was just, you could tell when things were happening. I don't know, like growth wise. So she's been all over the place, very inconsistent. We definitely go more off of like her wake windows, which have been more consistent lately, but they would change. She's never been a great napper. Always, like almost always contact napping, needs motion, all the things. If she doesn't go to sleep at night she hasn't nursed to sleep for a nap in I don't know how long. It'll happen randomly, but it's very rare. She's much more like she needs a lot of sensory input, and she's very much like a sensory seeker in general. Like she loves falling or things falling and like moving fast and the vacuum and the blender, and like she loves all those like loud everything. So that's you know, me realizing that and then realizing like, okay, she needs a lot more sensory input like at night too to keep her calm
Mm-hmm.
because yeah, that's like the vacuum calms her, which is like crazy to think. But I mean, I guess not because I guess they do talk about that when they're little. But yeah.
Do you have a sound machine or you use the
So we do
vacuum?
have a sound machine. Um, yeah, just like the little portable white noise.
Yeah, I use
Yeah,
that.
yeah. But it's so funny because we use that at night, but during the day, you know, I remember reading back when, you know, the first few weeks, how like music is stimulating and like it could be to some babies, I'm sure. Like they could be really, yeah, focused on that. But for her, like I remember trying to pump like those first few weeks after she fed, you know, I was trying to set everything up. It was just me and her. I was like, oh my God, blah, blah. And I had this little thing, and I just put on some reggae music, which is what my husband listens to a lot, and she just like passed straight out. And I was like, what the heck? Like, okay. I was like, so we don't need white noise. Yeah. Yeah. She likes reggae music. So we still now like for naps, we play reggae music in the background. Like she knows. Like
Whatever works.
yeah, we play it in the car. We play like the same the band's called I guess it's a band called Common Kings. That's who we play now. But then yeah. Anyways, yeah, so we play them in the background. We play them in the car when we want her to take a nap, kind of thing, and she just kind of, you know, it's what works for her. And yeah, we
Yeah.
don't take the white noise anywhere. Yeah, it's very, very funny. But yeah, I was just like, I'm gonna put this right here. We're gonna listen to reggae. So yeah, it's so funny because like you know, even though you struggle to get sleep those first few months, like I don't know, it's just so much easier to get them to sleep. You know, even though it's like a constant like up down kind of thing. Yeah, once she started like requiring more motion, that kind of stuff, I was like, oh man, like you don't know how good you have it those first few months.
Hmm.
You could just like chill and sleep and like not get anything done, and you're like
Yeah.
fourth trimester. Yeah, but anyways, I don't know if there's yeah, I don't know if there's any other questions.
There's one more down in the comments.
Oh
Do
yeah.
you recommend sleep sacks? And if so, what are your favorite brands?
So, so I think it really depends on like what sleep situation is going on because a sleep sack could be too much if someone's like co-sleeping or plan on like middle of the night like co-sleeping. So if you're gonna do that and you want to use a sleep sack, I definitely would recommend like a lighter one, the lighter Tog level. I know for us, we've always used Burt's Bees, and that's pretty like it's not very heavy, it's not weighted, and there are some brands that have weighted ones that are a little more expensive, but that could be beneficial if you're looking for that, or that like proprioceptive or the deep tactile input.
Mhm.
Um, I want to say Kite has that, but they're pretty expensive. I want maybe Halo sleep sacks. They have ones I think that are up to like 5 years old. I think even.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I haven't looked into that yet because we're still in the Burt's Bees ones. They're pretty affordable, which I like because yeah, um, yeah. But so there are definitely different ones, and it's just again you want to look at Tog level because you don't want them to get overheated, of course, and
Mhm.
consider like are they going to be in the crib the whole night versus are they going to start in the crib and end in the bed? Are they going to be in the bed the whole night? That you know you really want to factor all that into that, um, and then again the weighted level. So Burt's Bees are not weighted, but there definitely are some that are weighted on the chest, just to kind of give that touch, that feeling. But again, just remember if you are buying anything like that, then eventually they're going to transition out of it. So same thing like with the swaddle and that kind of stuff. So you might end up losing sleep when they transition out of it because they're not used
Mhm.
to not having it. So you
That's
kind
true.
of have to pick your battles there, um, or just realize you know you can get one that's weighted right now, but and get more sleep right now, and then work on the transitioning out of it later, or you can work on sleeping with a regular sleep sack now. And like I said, you could put like little stuffed animals in it, maybe, or like tiny little things that can give that like touch input. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully that answered the question.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many like out there right now, and I don't know. I don't like recommending anything that's like super expensive because I just feel like people are just I don't know. We don't need to spend all that money.
Yeah.
You're spending enough money on babies.
Hmm.
Yes. yeah, so hopefully that's a okay enough answer.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, any other questions from anyone?
I don't think so.
Okay, I don't know what time it is, so I'm just saying.
Um, oops. Oh, I didn't click anything. Okay.
No, you're good. I know, I just realized I think it was paused, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think we talked about a lot of things. Oh, oops. Is there one more? Oh, how do you, oh no. How do you approach family members who think you're doing something wrong
uh,
when your little one doesn't sleep through the night?
um, I just excommunicate them from, no, I'm just kidding. Say, see ya. No, that's hard. It's really hard. And I go through this myself, not my family necessarily. But I will say, in-laws are always, I think, a little difficult.
Mhm.
It can be either family. It doesn't have to be that. But anyways, there's a lot of history with, um, people saying they have to self-soothe and this and that and blah, blah, blah. You have to learn. And it's really just like, I try to educate them on what is actually like developmentally appropriate for a baby. So like,
Mhm.
it's, the thing is, like, back in the day, like our parents, I feel like a lot of us were formula fed and bottle fed. And there's a
Mhm.
very different, there's different arousal. What was that?
Culture and information.
Yes, yes. There was definitely like a big push for formula back then. It's known that formula fed babies don't wake up as much, like they just don't arouse as much because of what's in the formula, and it takes longer to digest and that kind of thing. And that can make people want to jump to bottle feeding, but it actually is a risk of SIDS to formula feed. So that, because they think that, well, we know that babies are supposed to wake up, and a lot of speculation with SIDS is that decreased ability to arouse themselves, and we don't want them to sleep too deep too soon, which I know seems like counterintuitive because you're like, but I need sleep.
Mhm.
Yeah, but anyway, so it's just educating them on, hey, this is what we're gonna do. It's not, they don't need to self-soothe. This is not, the way babies and people learn is by repeating actions. And if you're able to help the baby calm, help teach them, model it for them, um, be there for them, and to help them calm down themselves, help them fall back to sleep, they'll do it when they're ready. That's all called neuroplasticity, just the repeated pathways building. And I know I've even seen that in stroke patients, plenty of them. It's amazing, honestly. Um, yeah, so just educating them, and if they're really adamant about it, you just have to be like, well, this is what works for our family. So, and maybe give a little sass with it too, but no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, but yeah, if you have any like evidence or research just to show like what's developmentally appropriate, like that's
Mhm.
awesome. But just realize that, like anything, people are going to have their different views, and
Mhm.
it's very hard.
Everything.
Yeah, it's very hard for us to change people's views, especially if they're not open to hearing new things. Um,
Especially when it's not their child.
yeah,
Which is
and most people are just trying to be helpful, and
yeah.
yeah, we
But
definitely have to respect that. And sometimes I think family members can feel like if you're doing something different and you feel like it's better, that they feel like you're telling them they're not doing a good job. So we have to come at it, like, think at it that way too, and let them know, like, I'm very happy with, I think you did a great job, or, I don't know, something like that. Like, validate them, that make sure they know, like, you still feel appreciated by them, but also like you're gonna do something different.
yeah.
I don't know, yeah, because
I do like that. But this is
yeah,
what I'm gonna do. I'm
yes,
happy.
yeah, and like it's just the thing. Like, we know more these days. We know
Mhm.
more about like developmental psychology and all that. So it's just they didn't have this information back then, and
Mhm.
there's nothing. They did the best they could with the information at the time. And same with like anyone that goes through anything. People I know have come to me and like, I sleep train, blah, blah, blah. It's like, we have such a culture where people are told that they have to do these things, or they're like ruining their baby, and it's not true at all. But we just have such a your baby has to be independent kind of culture, when it's just not true. It's just been pushed on us. And I think part of it is, we have 6 weeks of maternity leave or something. And
So it's kind of like we're pushed all around
so
all around to just get back to work or get through this. Like, okay, that was your time. Now it's time to do something else.
Yeah.
And it's like, so there's issues with that.
And then like with breastfeeding with that too.
Breastfeeding, family and breastfeeding. Are you still breastfeeding?
Yes. Yeah, there's so many.
The baby needs more things. Like, I think it's time to feed the baby. It's like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, lots of external everything. Just
like,
stand your ground. If they're really bothering you, I mean, you gotta do what's best for you and your family. You just put your foot down. It stinks sometimes, but people need to respect your boundaries too. So hopefully that answered that question.
Yeah, he said thank you.
Oh yes. Yeah. I don't know. Any other questions that we can sign off?
So far, I don't see any others.
Nice. The sun is creeping in on me.
I know. I'll keep
moving closer. I'm like,
I'm running out of table.
I know.
I might just have to bring this closer to my face.
Same.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm sure we'll do this again at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I know.
Oh, well.
Yes. Well, it's nice talking to you again.
Yeah, nice talking to you. And thank you for everyone who tuned in. I will try to get this replay up. It should be right away into my IGTV.
Yes.
Yeah. So it'll be there. And
just as long as you click that it goes there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. But okay. Well, thank you, everyone.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
Bye.